Welcome to the show that the IWC loves to hate and the casual fans can't live without. It's your boy, the savior of casual wrestling, the hooded hero of hot takes, the undefeated, undisputed, reigning, defending champion of debate. Nerdy D is in the building. Here's the deal, guys. I'm here to defend the real wrestling fans. The ones who know that wrestling isn't about 5-star flips and technical clinics. It's more about the stories that make you laugh, that make you cheer, and maybe even cringe every so often. So grab a drink, sit back, let me guide you through all of the chaos with a little bit of snark, a lot of swag, and absolutely zero apologies. This is the Casual Wrestling Podcast.
Notorious. Big it up, big it up. Yep.
What is up, friends of the show? You are now tuned into the Casual Wrestling Podcast, where each and every week we break down pro wrestling like normal human beings should. This is the place that appreciates the stories and could care less about the 5-star flips and kicks. Tonight we have a full card on the docket. Remember, if you are a video listener, there's an exclusive segment that you can only get by jumping over to the Spotify version of the podcast, but we will talk more about that later in the show. Tonight, we have to overanalyze Netflix in the beginning of Monday Night Raw on the streaming era. We have to remind you the top 3 things that you forgot about Friday Night SmackDown. We have to bitch slap the IWC, and we have to look ahead on what to expect next week. But first, guys, let's set the record straight right off the bat. Let's get the overreactions out of the way, because I've seen it all at this point. It's absolutely insane. I've seen every number on the spectrum. On one side, you have the IWC claiming this was a 0 out of 10. This was a big swing and a miss. This was a giant overhyped mess. On the other side, we have the WWE faithful, the WWE drones, as some call them, saying this was the greatest Monday Night Raw of all time. And this, my friends, this is exactly why I do this podcast. This is why the Casual Wrestling Podcast exists. This is why I love being a casual wrestling fan, because while everyone else is out there crying on Twitter, is out there crying on social media, is out there overhyping what they saw, I get the opportunity to sit back and take an objective look at what we saw and break down what it actually was. And what was it? What was Monday Night Raw? Plain and simple, Monday Night Raw, if you missed out, Monday Night Raw was just WWE separating itself from the rest of the wrestling world. This was the next evolution in what wrestling is going to look like. Pay attention. Look is the key word here. This wasn't about the headlocks. This wasn't about the technical clinics. This was a visual stimulation. This was lights, this was smoke, this was pyro, this was projectors, this was a wrestling buffet. This was WWE flexing its production muscle. This was WWE flexing its roster full of superstar talent and telling the rest of the wrestling world, hey guys, nice job. You thought you caught up, but now we're about to lap you guys twice over. We're about to hit the little mushroom memorial cart. We're gonna fly right by you, and we'll see you on lap 2. This wasn't a farewell to the USA Network. This wasn't just the beginning of the streaming era. This was WWE giving the middle finger to network and cable television altogether. Someone at Netflix must have told Triple H, we don't care what you do on Monday night, just make sure it feels good and make sure it looks pretty. And Triple H, he ran with the ball. Guys, Triple H ran with the ball. He erased all of the outdated Vince McMahon tropes and rules that we've been accustomed to. He evolved WWE into the next century of wrestling. Now, I know that the IWC right now is out there saying, this was just a premium live event. You guys don't overreact. This was just a WWE premium live event being disguised as a Monday Night Raw. No, it wasn't. This was not a premium live event. This wasn't even a new format of Monday Night Raw. What this was, like I said, WWE flexing a production muscle. This was a one-of-a-kind spectacle. You won't see this again. Like, this was absolutely not about advancing the storylines. This was not about wrestling and X's and O's. This was just shining the biggest and brightest spotlight that WWE has ever created on Netflix. And that's why you're seeing everybody on the spectrum giving this a 2 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10. It's because nobody knows what they're grading. Nobody knows what the scale is. Everybody's working on a different ideology, but I can simplify it for everybody. If you want to go the old school route, if you want to look at this like it's just another Monday Night Raw, 7 out of 10. Sure. It just 7 out of 10. It didn't blow you away, but production-wise, but impact-wise, but getting its points across, it was a 10 out of 10. The match quality was okay, but the superstars in the ring were 10 out of 10. This wasn't designed to flow like your typical wrestling show. This show was designed to be in your face all night and wear you the fuck out. This was designed so that at any point in time, if somebody turned on Netflix and saw that Monday Night Raw was on, they would tune in and they'd get the best of what WWE has to offer. See, WWE usually runs a wrestling show like a standard fireworks show. I tell people this all the time, people who don't understand storytelling. You start off with something that kind of gets, ooh, like it's interesting, right? Then you put a few sparklers in between. You got a few tricks. You're just firing off, but you end with the big finale, right? You let all the fireworks go in the main event. That's not what this was. That's not what this Monday was. This Monday was WWE walking into the pyro room and grabbing every big-ass firework they have, lining them up across the card, and just setting them off one after another. Bang after bang after bang after bang. They wanted to leave us exhausted. They wanted every new fan who tuned in on Netflix to see a superstar, no matter what point of the night they turned on their TV. Like, think about it. Really think about it. If you tuned in at the very beginning, if you watched that countdown and you turned in from the very beginning, you got Triple H, you got Roman and The Rock, you got absolute icons. But if you turned it on just a little bit later, you got Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, who are two very stunning women. And I will guarantee you, there were guys who tuned in, who were lapsed wrestling fans. They saw Liv Morgan, they saw Rhea Ripley, they say, why the hell am I not watching this every week? And then if you tuned in a little later after that, maybe you caught Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre. Okay, so you saw the Scottish freak of nature, the dude who is the poster of what a professional wrestler should look like. He is the avatar, 6'6", long hair, beard, giant muscles, oiled up. Drew McIntyre's that guy, but maybe Drew McIntyre's not your cup of tea. So what comes right after that? It's Jey Uso with Travis Scott. And Travis Scott's holding a lit blunt. And you can say what you want, but that was done by design. WWE, they can play stupid to that situation. They knew that was going to get attention, and they knew that that was going to be talked about. So now you have Jey Uso, who commands a crowd like none other coming to the ring. But let's say you miss that. Let's say you just happen to tune in to the very last match of Monday Night Raw. You know what you got? You got two of the best in the world, CM Punk and Seth Rollins, tearing it up. Just absolutely tearing it up in the ring. Everything about Monday Night Raw was calculated, from Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens getting involved in a match, from Bianca Belair being in the crowd, from LA Knight being in the crowd. This was all about creating a visual representation. And old school wrestling fans, it's time to evolve. It is time to grow up. You guys can cry because I've seen it. You can cry that the new ring has branding all over it. You could cry that right there in the middle of that ring, it says Fortnite. But guess what, guys? When that kid that's age 6 to 14 clicks on to Monday Night Raw for the first time, and in the middle of that ring, they see the Fortnite logo, and then they see John Cena, you know what they're doing? They're yelling, "Hey, Mom, it's the guy from Fortnite. I should be watching this." That's marketing brilliance. That is absolute strategy. This is what AEW and Tony Khan, this is what separates the two companies. And for all of the Gunther fans out there, because this has been a problem in this community for a long time, is the IWC telling me that Gunther is the best wrestler in the world. Hey, man, all he got was a video package. Who did you see on TV? The people you saw on TV, understand, those are the ticket sellers. Those are the merchandise movers. Those are the big dogs. Everybody else is an experiment. Everybody else is an opportunity. The guys that got on TV and girls, that's the big show. That's what it is. Those are the needle movers. WWE was not going to risk anybody turning on their TV at any point on Monday Night Raw and not seeing one of the biggest names in professional wrestling. Love the New Day. Love Rey Mysterio, but they got cut because they didn't want anybody turning it on to that match. That's just, you look, Penta El Zero or whatever his name is. I get that, like, everybody's excited. They didn't want somebody turning on Netflix and not seeing a core WWE guy. This decision was extremely deliberate. And here's the difference between WWE and AEW. This is what I've tried to beat into anybody who listens to this show's head. At any moment in time, when you watch a show like this, you can turn on the TV, and these are avatars for what professional wrestling could be. When you turn on an AEW, let's say Dynamite, right? You turn it on. There are plenty, I'd say more than not, there are times where you will have no clue who the person is wrestling in that ring. And worse, they don't look like wrestlers. They're all 5'8", 170 pounds, completely generic creator wrestler number 4, right? But WWE, they put titans in the ring. Even if you don't, let's just say you live under a rock and you don't know who Rhea Ripley is. You see her and automatically think, holy shit, who is that person? Like, I'm telling you guys, this was WWE putting on a clinical assassination of the competition. This was WWE just clinically assassinating every other wrestling company in the world. And the IWC, they hate it, but they don't realize this is business. This is marketing. That was not wrestling. That was a flex. That was a, hey world, wrestling is back, and WWE is leaps and bounds better than everybody else in the business. WWE took the bar that they set, by the way. They set the bar in production. They took that bar and just threw that bitch into outer space. Nobody's catching up at this point. So now let's break down the X's and O's of Raw. Let's get deeper into what the matches meant. The hits, the misses. We'll get to that right after a quick word from our sponsor. All right, guys, I want to take a second to talk about leveling up your health game, starting with your gut. If you're not drinking Karma Probiotic water, you're missing out on hydration that actually does something for you. Here's the deal. Karma Probiotic water isn't like other drinks. With their patented push cap technology, the probiotics stay fresh and active until you're ready to drink. Why is that a big deal? Because probiotics are only effective when they're alive, and Karma makes sure that you get the good stuff every single time. Just push the cap, Shake it up and let those billions of live probiotics work their magic, supporting your gut health, boosting your immune system, and keeping you feeling like $1,000,000. Plus, with amazing flavors like blueberry lemonade and strawberry lemonade, taking care of your health has never tasted this good. Ready to transform your gut health? It's easy. Click the link in the description of this video and get your hands on Karma Probiotic Water today. Don't wait. Your gut will thank you. Push, shake, and drink your way to better days with Karma Probiotic Water. All right, so let's break down what Monday Night Raw actually did for the canon of Monday Night Raw, right? I know I spent the first 10, 15 minutes of this show telling you that story wasn't focus of the night, it was production, but don't get it twisted. There was still a lot to like from the wrestling part of Monday Night Raw. Now, while Monday wasn't about pushing narratives, I think that the kind of core thing you have to realize is that Monday was about tying up some loose ends and really showing off the roster. That's what it was. This was, like I said, WWE flexing the only only WWE can. So we kicked off the night with none other than Dwayne Netflix Johnson. That's what we're going to call it. I almost slipped and called him The Rock, but that wasn't The Rock. We got Dwayne Netflix Johnson. And I know everybody wanted Final Boss Rock, but that's not what, hey, pay attention. That's not what Monday night was about. We got Dwayne Netflix Johnson because that was Mr. I have $14 million in TKO stock. That was, I don't really know if I want to wrestle anymore, Dwayne Johnson. And let's be honest, Dwayne had to set the tone for the night because the first face that you want people to see is the biggest superstar in the world. There are people, I assume at this point in time, who don't know the history of The Rock. So you turn on Netflix, you pull up wrestling, and Dwayne The Rock Johnson is in the ring. That it sells you immediately. If you tuned in, let's just say you tuned in as a casual. Let's say you tuned in as a non-wrestling fan. You, at this point in time, up early in the show, you saw the crazy production of the projection show on the curtain. You saw that thing explode and drop. You saw Triple H. Next, you saw Dwayne Netflix Johnson hitting all of his proper catchphrases. Then you see Dwayne kind of giving the nod to Cody Rhodes, which I know pissed a lot of people off, but who cares? This was about introducing non-wrestling fans. Hey, that's Cody. That's our guy. That's our biggest asset right now. Then he turns and he points, he goes, I want to thank Roman Reigns. And he goes, hey, that's our guy. That's another one of our biggest assets in this company. And then he turns and he thanks the guys for Netflix because, hey, we got to keep everybody happy. But remember, this wasn't The Rock. This was Mr. Dwayne Netflix Johnson. Here's what you have to understand. This is what you're going to have to understand. And it's going to piss off a lot of fans. But do you really think on the first night of Netflix with these nerdy white executives sitting in the front row, you really think this is the night where the guy they've been having meetings with, right? They've been talking to The Rock up until this point, and he's probably been a very pleasant person in meetings. You think this person then gets in the ring, flips a switch, goes in and just destroys Cody Rhodes, turns around and just destroys Roman Reigns, and these executives don't think, wait a minute, you just told us that was our biggest asset. You just told us these guys were our biggest asset, and all of a sudden you're burying our biggest stars? You can't do that night one. You have to, night one, in front of Netflix, in front of new fans, you got to play it safe. So he gave them the wholesome, feel-good version of The Rock. He eased everybody into the wrestling world. And you know what? Guess what? There's plenty of time for Dwayne to turn into the corporate asshole. There's plenty of time for The Rock to go back to the final boss. He can't drop the motherfucking bombs this first Monday Night Raw. He can't just destroy your two biggest stars on the first Monday Night's Raw. This Monday Night Raw was about, it was feel good. This was supposed to be feel good. Look at the whole show. This was feel good moments. there's a possibility that Netflix and WWE may be a little more upbeat, maybe a little bit more feel good. We may not get the actual final boss on Monday Night Raw. That shit may actually happen on SmackDown. We don't know. But speaking of safe and happy, let's stick with the theme of Monday night needing to be safe and happy. Roman Reigns wins. Roman Reigns is back to being the tribal chief. That's about as safe and as happy as it gets. The match itself was a visual spectacle, right? Pre-match in the CWC Discord, they set up a over-under interference, and they put it at 5.5. And most people in the Discord said it's going to be under 5.5, right? Rookie mistake, guys. Here's what you didn't understand. This was on display for new wrestling fans. So new wrestling fans, we need to make this as chaotic as possible because they need to say, this is what wrestling is? At any point in time, we can get a Jimmy Uso, a Sami Zayn, a Jacob Fatu, a Tonga Loa, a Kevin Owens, a Cody Rhodes. Visual chaos. Back to the word visual. Visual chaos. New fans tuning in probably thought, holy shit, can anybody just run in at any time? That's what WWE is? Yeah, no, that's what WWE is. That's what WWE is. That's exactly what it is. From a story perspective, what did this do? It just tied up loose ends. It got Solo out of having to be the tribal chief and carry that pressure of whatever that story is going to become. We can now move forward on SmackDown without Roman Reigns for a couple weeks as we kind of get the fallout of the bloodline, and we kind of wait to see if the final boss is returning, if he's committing to WrestleMania. But this was a solid match. There was so much to look at. It was visually pleasing, and the outcome is what we wanted. I don't know what else you could want out of a first match of the night. I think we just have to have patience. Like, I think we all know. I'll tell you, The Rock is coming. The final boss that we know and love, he's coming. Roman Reigns said it without saying it in the post-show press conference. They're just setting this up. It's too early to, I guess I never really think about Roman's not going to commit to enough dates at this point in time in January. Dwayne's not going to commit to enough dates at this point in time. So I don't think this thing fires up till February, late February, if that. I think maybe after Royal Rumble, we start to see the seeds laid for a proper Roman Reigns and Dwayne Johnson feud going into WrestleMania. But what comes after that? So what do they do after? Now you've had Triple H, you've had The Rock, you've had Roman Reigns. We get John Cena. And we get John Cena doing what John Cena does, right? He's playing the greatest hits of John Cena. Corny jokes, check. Pandering to the crowd, check. Teasing the Royal Rumble, that's a big check. Guys, I respect John Cena for everything he's done in this industry. But I will tell you, I've never been a John Cena guy. He's just not my cup of tea. And that's okay. I don't dislike John Cena. He's just not, I've never wanted to cheer. I've always been a Cena sucks guy. I've never been a let's go Cena guy. And that's okay, right? That's what wrestling's supposed to be. You choose your side and you live with it. But for those of you who love him, and there's a lot of you who love him, I see the passion. I see that John Cena brought a lot of a different generation into wrestling. So to see you guys react to that segment is fun. If you guys are emotionally invested in this farewell tour, I think buckle up. I think it's going to be a fun ride. I think there's going to be lots to like, and there's going to be a lot of fun dream matches, a lot of things happening. I think like for any casual fans tuning in, seeing Cena tease the Rumble, that's a hook. Like, I think anybody who hasn't watched wrestling in a long time, let's say a lapsed wrestling fan, they turn on Netflix, they tune in at this moment, they see John Cena, they go, I didn't know John Cena still wrestled. And so they pay attention, and John Cena says, well, I'm going to be in the Royal Rumble. I think now they're hooked. I think that was a hook. I think now they're in, right? Now they're watching February 1st to see the Royal Rumble. It's pretty plain and simple. I think perfect execution. Once again, visually stunning. John Cena's got on new gear. John Cena looks the part, right? Looks like John Cena. He hits all the right notes, tells them there's going to be elements of every version of Cena. Like, it, to me, like I said, not a John Cena guy, but I think he nailed it. So after John Cena, that's when we go Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. And at this point, like I said, Rock, Roman, Cena, Triple H, you've gotten the best of the best. Now we move into a little bit of a different visual here, and that is two of the most striking women in WWE. Rhea Ripley has possibly the most unique look in all of wrestling. And Liv Morgan, I've said this numerous times, he is the IWC's dream girl. There's so many guys, that is what they want. The kind of nerdy, crazy, attractive, striking girl. That's what they're looking for. And so I think you had a lot of people tune in and see this and go, this is what WWE is? I didn't realize that people looked like this in WWE. And so you have that visual element. But then on top of that, what do you get? You get a world heavyweight title change. And once again, that's not just for us. There's a lot of us who go, it was too soon. It shouldn't have happened. That wasn't for us, guys. That was once again so new people watching the show can go, on any given Monday night, there can just be titles that change. I'm telling you, this past Monday was meant to be a buffet. It was a spectrum. It was showing people every possible element of what can happen when wrestling's on TV. And like I said, I've seen the IWC, I've seen the chatter, I've seen people going, oh, this has to then, if Liv lost, this has to be the end of Liv and Rhea. Maybe it is. But don't be shocked if it's not. Don't be shocked if this title change was simply so people could see a title change. Don't be shocked if Liv Morgan wins the Royal Rumble and sets up another showdown with Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. I don't know that you rush Rhea Ripley into something else right now. This story still has some juice in it. Where do you move on? If you're booking Rhea Ripley right now, where do you move on? I just don't think you do Charlotte again. I hear people saying Becky Lynch, but redundancy just doesn't seem to be Triple H's thing right now. I know guys like me and We Too Deep were hopeful that they got to Bianca. At this point, I think it's too soon. At this point, I think you let Raquel and Rhea go at it for a couple of weeks while Liv Morgan circles around, wins the Royal Rumble, and we get one last big hurrah out of Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. To me, I think that works. I absolutely do. Then we had Hulk Hogan. Oh boy, then we had Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan was there to promote his partnership with WWE and his new American something beer, whatever it is. That's what he was. Look, I'm not going to dive deep into the Hogan debate right now. The bonus content for this episode is going to be me giving you an honest opinion of what I thought fully of this segment and kind of my thoughts and feelings on why you shouldn't put too much stock into, investing emotionally into professional wrestlers. But right now, let's just look at this from the surface area. To me, this had Netflix executives written all over it. There's absolutely no way that Triple H thought Hulk Hogan was going to get cheered in Los Angeles. This feels like somebody out of touch made a deal with Hulk Hogan, and they told Triple H, hey, you're going to have to give 5 minutes to this spot. And Triple H was like, all right, fuck it. We'll just put him in kind of the middle of the show, and we'll let the people react, and you'll see what this is. This felt to me like someone at Netflix or maybe TKO. I don't know which part, but somebody was like, oh, Hulk Hogan, everybody knows Hulk Hogan. I even liked him as a kid. Just put him on TV. And I think it went, I don't think there was anybody who didn't expect that reaction. So we'll break down the ethics of Hogan later, but for now, that's kind of what I'll give you on the Hulk Hogan thing. So we transition out of that and we go to Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. This seems to be maybe the most controversial match on the card for a lot of people. I see a lot of people saying this match wasn't needed. I see a lot of people saying that Drew McIntyre should have won. I have to tell you once again, look at the night. This night was about feeling good and looking good. That was the theme of the night. This wasn't about storytelling. This was a visual spectacle. And like I said earlier, Drew McIntyre looks like a damn action figure, right? Jay's entrance with everybody in the crowd doing the yeet chants, Travis Scott holding the lit blunt. This is LA flavor. This just was a visual spectacle. And Jey Uso winning the match was a feel good moment. And I know it felt like they rushed out of, they didn't like give it a lot of purpose, but that's because you weren't supposed to hold on to the finish of that match. Drew McIntyre is going to be just fine next week, and Jey Uso is going to be just fine next week. And this was literally about the crowd yeeting, the crowd doing their thing, and people seeing the interactivity of what WWE can be and what it can feel like. Like, all Drew McIntyre has to do next week is come out. He's got plenty of ammo to cut a fiery Drew McIntyre promo and go through the whole shtick of like Jey Uso's a coward and the way he won doesn't make sense. All that is set up to be fine. I think this match absolutely needed to exist. I think absolutely if somebody new was watching at this point in time, this let people know like, wow, not only is WWE great in the ring, but it's almost like a rock concert now. Like there's an interactivity now that is absolutely insane. But that led us to the main event. That led us to the main event, which I didn't think was going to be the main event until people started telling me this was announced as the main event. And I'll tell you, right decision. Right decision. If you're going to let off all your fireworks, this is the last firework you let off, because there's something for everybody, guys. This is CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. This is two of the top 3 wrestlers in the world. Solidified. Stop. I'm not arguing. Stop telling me about Will Ospreay. Stop telling me about Ricochet. Stop telling me about these guys' names that I can't pronounce. There are 3 top wrestlers in the world, and they go Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Kevin Owens. Put them in any order you want. Put those 3 guys in any order you want, and I won't argue. Try to add another name in, and we could have our words. But this match, this is what you want professional wrestling fans to see. This is what you want casual wrestling fans to see. This is what you want IWC fans to see. This is what you want lapsed wrestling fans to see. At first, I was surprised CM Punk picked up the W. I will be completely honest. Then as I kind of sat with it a little bit, as I thought about it, as I let it digest a little bit, it totally makes sense, right? I think we all assume at this point Gunther's days are cooked. I don't see a world, especially after they did not use him the Monday Night Raw before this event and the premiere Netflix. I think that it's pretty obvious at this point. Triple H has lost faith in Gunther being the guy. And that's okay, right? You can go repackage Gunther. You can figure out what to do with him. He just needs a couple tweaks. Gunther will be fine. He's just not the guy. But I think they figured out real quickly CM Punk is that guy. That's why I'm pretty confident we're going to get CM Punk versus Gunther in the very near future for the World Heavyweight Championship. At latest, I'm saying Elimination Chamber. And I think CM Punk wins the World Heavyweight Championship and carries it to WrestleMania, where he's going to main event night 1 against Seth Rollins and fulfill kind of the CM Punk destiny that we've heard about for so long, about him main eventing a WrestleMania. It won't be night 2. That's reserved for Roman, but I think that he's going to get night 1. So, like I said, look, CM Punk winning the main event shouldn't shock anybody. He draws every demographic. This is why I said when Tony Khan said that he feared for his life, and when Tony Khan fired CM Punk, this is why I screamed from the rooftops that Tony Khan is an insane person. I would have let every other person on that roster go, not named CM Punk, in order to keep CM Punk. CM Punk draws at every demographic. CM Punk draws with the old school fans. CM Punk draws with the casual fans. CM Punk elicits emotion from the IWC. CM Punk draws from lapsed wrestling fans. CM Punk is, to me, the kind of generation bridge. He fills the gap. And I think it said so much that he main evented this monumental Monday Night Raw, and he came out on top. Like I said, while this wasn't about advancing stories, I think this was about statements. This was about feeling good and looking good. And your final optic of Monday Night Raw was CM Punk. That says so much about the state of WWE right now. That just absolutely does. But while we're still buzzing about Monday Night Raw, let's not forget that we had a great 3-hour Friday Night SmackDown last week. So coming up next, we're breaking down the top 3 things you probably forgot happened on Friday Night SmackDown. All right, casual fans, let's get into it. This is Nerdy D's top 3 things you need to pay attention to from Friday Night SmackDown. Because let's be honest, most of you were probably going to the bathroom during that 3 hours. So there's something you missed. But don't worry, I've got you covered. Let's start off with, first up, welcome to the era of Tiffany Stratton. That's right, guys. If you look at your clocks, you will promptly notice that it is officially Tiffy time. The swerve was real. Tiffany pulled off, might I say, one of the best Money in the Bank cash-ins we've seen in a long time. Like, the swerve was masterful. The cash-in, by taking out Candice LeRae, by watching Bianca Belair take out Nia Jax, by then going and turning in the Money in the Bank, discarding Bianca Belair over the announce table, getting in there, hitting the prettiest moonsault ever, and becoming the new WWE Women's Champion was absolutely insane. The way she discarded Bianca Belair over the announce table was insane. But hold on. I gotta do something. This just reminded me. Speaking of Bianca Belair, let's take a little detour. I gotta take a little detour because casual community has let me down just a little bit. I feel like the casual community, a lot of the people in the Discord, you've gotten way too comfortable slandering the queen. Like, it's just, we've just decided now, I guess she's just been at the top for so long that you guys feel comfortable just disrespecting the queen of W. Let me make one thing clear. I am not above dropping a ban hammer on the wavy D's, on the dead chest. If you guys don't get aboard the Bianca Belair train, if the disrespect continues, I might have to pull the trigger. Somebody had the audacity. So I don't remember who it was. Somebody in the Discord had the audacity to say you could find 10 Bianca Belairs at a bodybuilding competition. What kind of bodybuilding competition? What? You guys need 10 pairs of glasses from iMart because clearly your guys' vision sucks. So just a heads up, just a little side chat we're having here. Heads up, guys. I will turn this whole channel into the Belair cast if this disrespect continues. But now back to your regularly scheduled podcast. Yeah, it's Tiffy time. Congrats to her. I'm happy to see fresh blood holding the title. I think that it well deserved. I think she's ready for it. It is sink or swim, right? You now have grabbed the title heading into the most stressful part of wrestling, right? The road to WrestleMania. There's a giant spotlight being shined on Tiffany Stratton, and hopefully she sews up, because if not, she can count her days. Bianca Belair will be back after the gold sooner rather than later. But I think right now, officially, we have to start the Charlotte Flair watch. Like, we know the match for WrestleMania. The match that most of us want to see for WrestleMania is Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. It's probably Royal Rumble that she comes back. We know she's lurking. We know she's about ready to come back. So I think that's what we get. I think I could see Charlotte winning the Royal Rumble. I still have Liv Morgan possibly as a sleeper to win the Royal Rumble. But I think those are my two favorites. Not to give too much away, because I know I'll be participating in Snuggles' Royal Rumble challenge. If you have not joined the Discord, message Snuggles. Let him know you want to be a part of his Royal Rumble challenge. It's a lot of fun. It's cool to do. So here's the second thing. This is the second thing we got to talk about. We got to talk about Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight. This, to me, has the potential to be a sneaky good feud. If you're not paying attention right now to Shinsuke Nakamura and LA Knight, it's time to lock in. Because after initially feeling like they rushed into this situation, which I think they did, I think they needed something on the card and they threw it in there, and it all happened very quickly. They now kind of slowed it down and they're letting it breathe a little bit. And I think it's working, right? LA Knight still gets thunderous pops from the crowd. He is still arguably one of the most over people in the company. Arguably, he is. From crowd reaction, he's arguably one of the most over people in the WWE. And this new version of Shinsuke Nakamura, this is easily the best presentation we've seen from Shinsuke Nakamura in a long time. Might I add, though, this might be the best presentation we've seen of any superstar in a long time. I don't understand. This is the thing I don't get, guys. I don't understand why WWE tends to avoid these over-the-top gimmicks, like Shinsuke Nakamura, right? The samurai Shinsuke, the vibe he sets when he comes to the ring sets the tone perfectly for somebody like Shinsuke Nakamura. He's no longer, for a long time, I didn't know what Shinsuke Nakamura was, to be honest with you. There was a point in time I thought Shinsuke Nakamura was a Michael Jackson impersonator. There's a point in time that Shinsuke Nakamura just looked like generic creator wrestler number 7. But now we got new music. It makes a little bit of sense, right? We got some fire. That makes sense. We've got a new mask. It's all on point. And you tie that all together with the entrance. It's perfection. Now, that said, I'll still say, Shinsuke Nakamura could use a mouthpiece. Like WWE, I get that you're leaning on guys, you're letting them do pre-tape promos in their native language, which is fine. That works. But when you're going up against someone like LA Knight needs somebody who can stand face to face and take verbal jabs. He needs verbal sparring. So I wish we could get Shinsuke Nakamura somebody who could, verbally go at it with LA Knight a little bit. I think that would up the stakes in this situation, but I love this. I think this is going to be great. I know we're getting another match on SmackDown. I hope this continues. I hope we're not seeing kind of LA Knight being cast aside, because I still think LA Knight, there's so much potential. I still think that very quickly after WrestleMania, it's time to get LA Knight into some world title pictures. That's just me kind of spitballing there. The third and last thing that you should be paying attention to on SmackDown is Drew McIntyre. Now, I know a lot of people are going to go, but Drew McIntyre's a Monday Night Raw guy. Now, I get it, but we got to figure out what's at play here, because he's sneaking over and he's getting involved in Cody Rhodes' business. Now, I'm not saying that this means Kevin Owens is going to win the title at Royal Rumble, because at this point, I really don't think logistically that's going to happen. But let's just pretend a little bit. Drew McIntyre told Cody Rhodes to watch his back. Is there any world where that's foreshadowing? Is there any world where Drew McIntyre shows up, cost Cody Rhodes his match at Royal Rumble, and Kevin Owens becomes the new world WWE Undisputed Champion? Like, is that wishful thinking? Maybe it is. Maybe it is wishful thinking, but I think that could open the door for so many interesting things. I think that could be fun. And I'll admit it, like I said, logistically, it's looking less and less likely that Kevin Owens wins a title before WrestleMania. I still think it's in play after WrestleMania. But I think logistically, it makes sense that Cody Rhodes carries the title into Vegas. He is, like I said earlier on the Netflix thing, he's the backbone of WWE. He's the guy they've hitched the wagon to. So I don't know that it would make a lot of sense to take the title away from him. But from a selfish point of view, is there a part of me that would like to see Kevin Owens as champion defending the title against Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and why not throw Drew McIntyre in there in a fatal 4-way for the undisputed heavyweight championship at WrestleMania? Yeah, I mean, chef's kiss to that. I think that could be good. I think it has history. It has drama. It would write itself. But the reality is we're probably getting Cody Rhodes in some form of a one-on-one match, probably Randy Orton. And oddly enough to me, I don't think Cody Rhodes main events WrestleMania. That's weird. I know that seems a little strange because I keep saying he's the guy they hitch the wagon to, but I really do believe that we get Seth and CM Punk night 1, and if everything goes to play, we get Rock and Roman night 2. So I think Cody falls either as an opening match or he gets lost in the card. But those are my top 3 SmackDown takeaways. Before we move on, brace yourself, guys. I know the IWC is going to flood the inbox with complaints. I get it every week on TikTok. But lucky for you guys, I'm in the mood to educate them today. Let's dive into this next segment where I'm going to bitch slap the IWC.
Cause you just punched the ticket for a bitch slap, for a bitch slap, for a bitch slap. Cause you just punched the ticket for a
So it never fails, guys. Every week I post little snippets of the show on TikTok, and it doesn't fail that people, my DMs are open. They're welcome to. I don't get as many. I used to get a lot of stitches. Now it seems like they don't want to do it in public because I destroy them publicly. So now they like to slide into the DMs and drop these just hate speeches on me where they think it's going to go unrecognized. But here's the problem. You jump in to the Nerdy D inbox, I'm going to bring it to the pod. I'm going to expose it to everybody. So we're going to start off today with Big Jerry. Big Jerry sent me this beautifully crafted message. He says, I blame casual idiots like you for Raw being boring and pointless. There's zero wrestling on the show. You guys should just go watch soap operas. Casual fans ruin wrestling. Here we go, Jerry. Let's explain to Jerry what's wrong with this, because Jerry is the savior of real wrestling, apparently, the gatekeeper of what we're allowed to enjoy. Let me guess, Jerry. You're the guy who fast forwards through the promos and all you watch is wrist locks, right? That's what it is. Because I hate to break it to you, buddy, but I'm so tired. I am so fed up with the argument that AEW is better wrestling, that AEW is better fighting. It's not better wrestling, guys. It's just wrestling, and it's fake fighting. And people hate. Oh, you called it fake? Yeah, no, it's fake fight without story. You're watching fake fighting. I gotta break this down for you guys. If you guys want to see the best wrestling, watch the Olympics. Watch NCAA wrestling. Hell, even watch UFC. There's some pretty good real wrestlers there. What you're watching, be it AEW or WWE, you're watching entertainment. It's not a technical exhibition as much as you want it to be. If you think wrestling is boring and it doesn't have enough wrist locks, then you're the problem. It's not the casuals. You guys are holding on. You're watching AEW. AEW is a case study in what happens when you take fake fighting and don't give it stories. People start to tune out. Sure, there are some weird guys who continue to watch, but the reality is wrestling's supposed to be a soap opera. What do you think wrestling is, Jerry? It is a men's soap opera. It is for the people who want drama with a little bit of suplex. That's it. But it needs drama and it needs suplex. Wrestling needs stories to work. Otherwise, like I said, it's just two guys in tights that are sweaty, grappling for no reason. And I'm not a big fan of that, Jerry. Maybe you are. I'm not a big fan. Just imagine it this way. Imagine going to a movie theater, right? And you go to watch an Avengers movie. And there's no opening credits. It's literally just the show starts. It's Thor. It's Iron Man. They start fighting with no context, no story. They're just throwing everything they got at each other. Are you staying to watch that? Sure, I get it. There's a few nerds who would fucking absolutely cream their pants for that. But most of us normal human beings go, why are they fighting? What is the story? What does this make sense? I came because I wanted the story of the Avengers. I didn't just want to see two guys fight for the next 2.5 hours. That's not how entertainment works. People would be wondering what the hell this is. So yeah, Jerry, Monday Night Raw is not boring. Look, I don't know what you're watching. You're welcome to just continue watching AEW and not watch Monday Night Raw. It's not going to be what you want it to be. Maybe try opening up your mind a little bit and understanding that the story just enhances the part of wrestling that you like, right? Or just stick to your indie shows. That's where you're going to get all of the flipping, all of the slapping each other with no rhyme or reason. You could go ahead and do that. But storytelling is going to be an integral part of a company like WWE who's on the rise. And you have a case study with AEW who obviously is declining in ratings because they can't figure out who they are. The second message I got in my inbox came from Money Monet. Money Monet said, you just love to hate Ricochet, but what do you have to say now? His heel turn was amazing. AEW is back and you hate it. we gotta stop. Like we have like this overreaction has to stop. Oh my God, Ricochet turned heel. Stop the presses. This is the biggest thing in pro wrestling that nobody paid attention to. Hey guys, like Monet, it wasn't that amazing. I watched it. I actually tuned in for it. It was more comical to me than it was amazing or whatever you guys want to call it. Like, oh my God, he had scissors. He's so hardcore, right? So hardcore that he held them like safety scissors, like a preschooler doing crafts for 90% of the time he's out there. Like, to me, if this is an AEW fan's idea of an amazing turn, then it makes sense why you guys don't like WWE. You guys just don't understand storytelling. You don't understand the tropes that make something interesting. Like, and let's break it down even further. Let's talk about the IWC's overreaction here. Because the fact that you're losing your mind over that, the fact that that's what you guys are hanging your hat on, that shows me how bad the rest of the production actually is right now. Like, you guys are just starving for anything to cling on to. And Ricochet holding scissors, that's apparently it. And that, to me, I feel bad for you guys. I feel bad that you guys see that and like that's your sticking point. When we just had one of the most amazing 2-week runs in Monday Night Raw history, you guys are hanging on the fact that Ricochet looks like he's in the movie Office Space and he's stabbing Swerve Strickland, who clearly has a fetish for being stabbed by things. Like, this is what you guys are holding on to. And while we're on that point, let's go a little deeper. Don't get me started on you guys that tell me Ricochet is the best wrestler in the world or that Will Ospreay is the best wrestler in the world. Because every time I hear somebody say these guys are just so amazing, I roll my eyes. And then I know everybody, well, he's a casual fan. He doesn't understand it. No, I get it completely. I understand the metrics of wrestling. Ricochet and Will Ospreay, this may date me a little bit, but they're the and one mixtape players of pro wrestling. They do all of the cool, flashy tricks. They can roll, they can spin, they can bounce the ball off of a guy's head, but you put them in a real game where it matters, where there are fans in the stands, and you have to sell tickets, and they don't move the needle. They can do all the cool, flashy tricks, but you put them in a game with real, professional, legitimate wrestlers, the guys like Roman Reigns, the guys like Seth Rollins, and they get lost. They don't have the depth. They can't tell the story. They can't engage the audience. There's a reason why you guys keep screaming how good Will Ospreay is, yet he's not selling a ton of merch. He's not selling a ton of tickets. There's a reason. It's because you've seen it once. You've seen it a million times. It's the same thing every time. And sure, he's technically good, but there's no substance to what he's doing. It's like, I don't hate AEW because, oh God, it's gaining a little traction. I'm not hating on it because all of a sudden you guys think Ricochet's doing some good. I'm being honest. And I'm trying to help you guys understand that you guys need to hold AEW accountable. If you guys, the last remaining kind of little bit of fan base that AEW has, if you guys would hold Tony Khan accountable, I think you could see some change in terms of getting some storytelling into the product. But as for like, I don't know what it is. Ricochet, to me, he's corny. I don't think this turn changes that at all. I think that this, once again, is what AEW does. They appeal to this very tiny group of fans. They are feeding their tiny audience, and you're not going to see the numbers grow over the next couple weeks because of Ricochet. But see, that's what I deal with on a weekly basis. Those are the kind of messages that they try to bring me down with weak arguments and outdated ideas. But don't worry, I've always got more in the tank. I'll keep going back at them. Let's keep this rolling. Let's go ahead and finish off the video portion of the show by looking ahead. All right, guys, so let's look ahead to next week because it seems like I think we'll go back to basics next week. I think everybody can quit panicking. It won't be the big spectacle that it was this week. We'll go back to pretty standard operating procedure for Monday Night Raw. Like anybody who wants a wrestling show with actual matches, that's what you're going to get. We've already seen 4 matches on Monday Night Raw. We've seen the lineup. We got Dakota Kai versus Lyra Valkyria. We got Finn Balor versus Damian Priest in a street fight, I believe. We've got Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser, and we've got Chad Gable, more than likely, I think it's been pretty confirmed at this point, taking Penta on in his debut. So breaking that down, give me Dakota Kai beating Lyra Valkyria. I think, this match is going to crown a new IC champion. I think Dakota Kai is that person. This one could be a toss-up because I think Lyra Valkyria also has what it takes to kind of fill that mid-card spot. It just, to me, Dakota screams a little bit more commercial appeal than Lyra Valkyria, but I could absolutely be wrong on that, and I wouldn't be surprised. Give me Damian Priest beating Finn Balor in a street fight. Once again, these are 2 matches that I'm not extremely confident about, and I like that. That's the way I always want to feel that way going into Monday Night Raw. I want it to feel like I have no clue could win because Finn Balor versus Damian Priest could get spicy. There's going to be a lot going on with the Judgment Day come Monday. With Liv Morgan losing her title, you've had a little bit of friction between Liv and Finn. Finn's now going to go back at Liv. So there's going to be a lot going on. I think I have Damian Priest picking up the win here and kind of shattering what's left of the Judgment Day. Finn and Liv probably go separate ways. Interesting to see what happens with Dom because he got back in the ring and kind of tried to embrace Rhea. So we'll see, there's tension there. But I think that Damian Priest walks away. He's got the momentum. I think that it makes sense to me. Damian Priest comes out on top in that match. Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. I think this is going to be a good match. I think it's going to be sleepy good. And by sleepy, I mean like sleeper. I think this may be one of the matches of the night. Sheamus usually doesn't let us down, and Ludwig just doesn't get enough credit for how good he is in the ring. So I think, I'm going to go Sheamus here. But once again, wouldn't be surprised if Ludwig Kaiser wins. I just think I still like the idea of Sheamus finding a way back to that IC title. And like I said, winning it at least for a couple of days. The feel-good moment would be remarkable at this point. And then we know we get Chad Gable versus Penta El Zero. I love Gable. I've stated that numerous times. I love the American-made faction. But this feels to me like this is being set up for Penta to have a big debut, to kind of come in, show off, show out, show everybody in WWE what they didn't let him do in AEW. I hope he does. I just hope he doesn't become just another kind of cog in the Rey Mysterio chain. I really hope they let him kind of stand out the way I think he can. I think it feeds into the story that Gable can't beat Luchas. So I absolutely think I'm pretty confident on this one that Penta is going to be the one who wins that match. After that, it's kind of anybody's guess what we get. I think we'll probably get a conversation with CM Punk. He'll come out. I think it's about time he calls out Gunther. I don't know if we see Seth Rollins. I think you may get a little bit of an absence, maybe even till the Royal Rumble, possibly. I kind of predicted that match was going to be a brawl. It didn't end up being what I thought it was going to be, but you could still hold Seth Rollins out for a couple of weeks if you wanted to and bring him back around the Royal Rumble. But I think it's about to get real awkward for the Snooze General, right? I think, I called for John Cena versus Gunther because I thought that was going to test Gunther's mic skills. But I think CM Punk may be even a worse matchup. I think CM Punk, he's the guy on the microphone right now. He is hot and on fire. And while Gunther shows flashes of being able to work a microphone, he's not on CM Punk's level. CM Punk will talk circles around him. So I think we're about to witness the beginning of the end of Gunther. So I think you'll get some stuff from CM Punk. That's Monday Night Raw. As far as SmackDown, we don't know very much about what's going on SmackDown. As far as I know we're only a couple weeks away from Saturday Night Main Event in my hometown of San Antonio. We've heard absolutely nothing about that. That's why I didn't buy tickets, is because I think it's going to be a little bit of a throwaway show. But for SmackDown, simple. I think you get a heavy dose of Tiffany Stratton. I think you get to see what Tiffany time's going to be. I think she continues probably a story with Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. There'll be lots of moving pieces to that, and I think that'll be fun. I'm pretty sure we're getting LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Give me Shinsuke Nakamura retaining over LA Knight, because right now I've kind of flipped a switch here. Shinsuke Nakamura's presentation is too good to derail it right now. LA Knight can survive a couple losses. He's still going to get the massive pops. And like I said, after WrestleMania, you can find some world title stuff for LA Knight to do. But give me Shinsuke kind of continuing on. So there you have it. Next week is shaping up to be great. A lot of good matches, some potential chaos like CM Punk and Gunther, a little bit of SmackDown magic with Tiffany Shinsuke. We'll stay tuned to see how it shakes out. But that is all for the video portion of this week's podcast. If you guys are watching on YouTube, hop over to Spotify right now. You're going to get my kind of op piece here on Hulk Hogan and the whole Hulk Hogan situation. If not, if this is where you're checking out, thank you for tuning in. This has been another episode of the Casual Wrestling Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. And don't forget, like I said, there's even more content waiting for you in the audio version of the podcast. Exclusive segments like Questions with Level Up Lauren, 20 question games, outside the ring conversations, or we do special like one-off pieces, like I'm doing an op on Hulk Hogan this week. If I don't see you, until next time, stay casual, stay cool, and I will catch you on the next episode.
This is for you. We're the wanted men, mic in our hands. You keep telling us to back down, won't do it. Dropping hot takes like a bullet. It's the Casual Wrestling Pod. Renegades will break the facade. Step in the ring, we knew it. Living on the wrong side of a bullet. Lay down in the squared circle, envy's alive. Time is ticking, but we'll always survive. From Texas to the big leagues, we bring the sound. No IWC, only casuals around. No forgiveness, never give.